Magic in ancient Egypt. Magic pattern. Mummies and magic. Funerary myhology. Part 4. Perils of the underworld. In funerary literature, one may discern a certain fear that the deceased might inadvertently be drawn into the terrible punishments of the enemies. For this Re-son, he is provided with many spells to prevent and ward off the dangers in the hereafter. These spells contain information and prescriptions as to what to do and say at the right moment. Even the deceased who is not mixed up with N-, and is himself not guilty of criminal or sinful acts, fears that his BA may be caught in a net between heaven and earth, that unpleasant doorkeepers may be reluctant, or even refuse, to open gates that one necessarily has to pass. He may be caught, he may be bound, he may be tortured and thrown into pits and prisons. A ferryman may ask difficult questions. One typically dangerous situation was the lake of fire that one had to pass and in which the enemies were burned. It stunk. Birds flew away from it. As soon as the justified approached this horrifying lake of fire, which could not be evaded, it would turn into a pond with cool, refreshing water, from which he could drink and through which he could easily wade. These dangers could be overcome by knowledge written in books of funerary mythology, and by calling on mighty gods, especially Osiris, the lord of the underworld, or the sun god Re, who travels in his boat through the mysterious regions of the underworld. Hymns to these gods are included in the Book of the Dead to provide a religious attitude in the hereafter. Better than such a last-minute, post-mortem religion in the hereafter is the religious attitude on earth. Those who used to worship Re on earth, who charmed Apophis, who offered their oblations, who sensed their gods, they indeed, after they have gone to rest, they dispose of their libations, they receive their food offerings. Those who spoke the truth on earth, who were not in the proximity of sins, they are invited unto this gate. They live in righteousness. Their libations come from their pools. It was not only knowledge or religion that counted, but also ethical behavior, as this later text suggests. He who is beneficent on earth, to him one is beneficent in the netherworld. And he who is evil, to him one is evil. It is so decreed, and will remain so, forever. The deceased who has overcome all dangers on the road to the hereafter is admitted to the hall of judgment, where he is purified or separated from all his sins. The realm of the dead. In the pyramid texts, the deceased pharaoh is assured that he will be accepted as a living god among the gods in heaven. In later funerary literature, the coffin texts, the Book of the Dead, and such new kingdom compositions as the Amjuat, the Book of Gates, the Book of Caverns, and the Book of the Earth. The hereafter is more often described as being under or in the earth. The null-edge of the hereafter was closely connected with Egyptian theological and cosmological speculations about the course of the sun, which disappears at night in the west and supposedly travels under the earth, reappearing in the morning in the east. Egyptian funerary mythology seems largely to be derived from the mythology and cult of the sun god Re. In the earliest funerary texts, the pyramid texts, funerary mythology centered on Osiris, the god who died and arose from the dead. This mythology was influenced by the theology of the sun god Re, venerated in Heliopolis. According to Egyptian conceptions, the abode of the dead is indeed a mysterious region. The dead may be called those whose place is hidden or mystery minus, aus, and the abode itself the mysterious space. It is a mythical place that can be reached only in the imagination. Courageous explorers cannot visit this mysterious place as they might visit far countries. The knowledge of the abode of the dead does not seem to be based on ecstatic experiences, or reports of human visitors who had made a temporary visit to that mysterious region. The late story of Qais, in which such a visit is described, is a rather exceptional phenomenon in Egyptian culture. The hereafter can only be incompletely indicated with symbols, words, and pictures derived from this world. It may be called the West because the sun sets in the west and was thought to descend into the hereafter or underworld duat, because it was thought that the sun traveled under the earth from west to east during the night. Sometimes it is called the Great City, but it is often stressed in word and image that it is a region with water and vegetation of plants and trees, sometimes called Elu fields, although a desert may also be found there. It is separated from the world of the living by a broad stream. A great river is also in the hereafter along which the sun god Re proceeds in his boat. One can imagine that a sandbank is in this river as sandbanks are in the Nile. This is the sandbank of Apophis. The enemy of Re. Apophis does not succeed, however, in his attempt to shipwreck Re's boat. The battle of Re with Apophis in the underworld in the evening, at dawn, or in the middle of the night is often mentioned in sun hymns and funerary literature. The dead watch as Re and the gods in his boat ward off this threatening minister of chaos in the shape of a huge serpent. Apophis is conjured with words, bound, attacked with knives, and subdued to nothingness. All occupants of the sunboat may take part in this glorious battle. Sia, the personification of Wis-Dom, who the creative word, Heka, creative energy or magic, and greater gods and goddesses such as Hathor, Isis, Maat, Horus, Thoth and Seth. Especially the mischievous, murderous and violent thunder god Seth may be represented as standing with his huge spear in the prow of the sunboat, and repelling with word and deed the monster of chaos.